Except we bump into each other.
Al, I think, Al Lamar.
Oh,
7:30
okay.
Verizon time.
Ready, Denise?
Yep.
Lamar? Okay, call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan? Here. Ms. Belisca? Present. Mrs. McKnight? Here. Mayor Morgan?
Here.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Here.
Mr. Kogan?
Here.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Here.
Salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's a public meeting in Borough Council, Borough of Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with PO 1975, Chapter 231. An annual notice or revision was made in conformance of Section 13 of the Act. Before we go any further, I just want to see we have a couple first responders here, and we want to thank you for all that you guys do. It's National First Responders Day, and I know you guys are very diligent, and I know firsthand, thank you. Okay, before I go any further, I got a letter from the Business Association. As you know, we had our Pioneer Day successful month. It says, our inaugural Pioneer Day brought out about 7,000 plus neighbors and friends downtown. And we want to take a moment to thank you and all those who pitched in and want to share what it meant to us as local business owners. When we decided to reimagine and rename our street fair as Pioneer Day, it was to honor those people who show up and invest in making New Providence a place to be proud of, seeing that the spirit is on full display this past Sunday was a reminder to us why we do this work. MP Biz organizes and funds events like Pioneer Day, our holiday walk, downtown trunk or treat or trick or treat, the summer concert series, and high school scholarships, because we believe businesses have a role to play in creating economic vitality and community connection. These events build stronger relationships between neighbors and businesses, enrich our community experience, and give people compelling reasons to shop and dine locally in New Providence instead of clicking buy now at a mega e-commerce platform. The operational support from the New Providence Police Department, New Providence Fire Department, New Providence EMS, New Providence Recreation, and New Providence DPW made it possible to bring Pioneer Day and all the events that we put on to life safely and successfully. We didn't want to let this moment pass without acknowledging your collaboration and goodwill that makes this work possible. We're looking forward to what's ahead. See you at the Holiday Walk in a few weeks. And with gratitude, Michelle Elefante, Tom Murphy, Jimmy Vardis, and Lisa Barfield. You know, I think we were all there. What a great day. Couldn't ask for better weather. I think that was probably the most successful one we've had yet. So I thought it was terrific. And going to their meetings, I know what kind of preparation it takes. So thanks to all involved.
That's great.
Okay. We have a public hearing on ordinance 11. Please read the title.
Ordinance 2025-11 is an ordinance amending Chapter 333 of the Code of the Borough titled Sanitary Standards.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, what this does is change the garbage collection times to a later time. I know I could actually hear the garbage trucks coming if the windows open at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's way too early. So this is to change it that I believe,
Six.
six, right?
For commercial
So,
properties. For commercial.
if anybody has any comments on this ordinance and this ordinance only, raise your hand. Okay,
Can I just ask a quick question? I just want to make sure, when I was reading it, it wasn't 100% clear if it also applies to commercial properties, because it talks about residential garbage pickup. Does it also include commercial?
It
Yeah.
is, it is.
It's to line up the.
Commercial.
It is commercial, not
Commercial.
residential, or
I
both?
think it was saying
It's not
commercial
residential, it's commercial.
next.
It's
to it.
commercial, okay. That's weird that, I don't know, the way I read it,
I
maybe it
think it
said
was saying if it's next to a residential, within 200 feet. That-
within
maybe that's what
200
you read.
feet. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it's focused on commercial.
Yeah.
And Bernadette, when a complaint comes in, they'll be enforced. We will issue a citation to,
We have to call in a timely manner because we have to see them doing it, so.
assuming they have record that it's still being done at 4 a.m. right?
Yes.
Thank you.
good deal. Okay, seeing no one, no hands, need a roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Cogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay, need approval of minutes of October 14th, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
No, so be it. Okay, we have correspondence, Board of Adjustment for 966 Central Avenue, variance for second floor, City of Summit, ordinance adoption for historic preservation, Summit ordinance, replacing Morris Broad Crossroads overlay zone. Well, I bet you that's a big one. Board of Adjustment for 63 Old Oak Drive, New Jersey American, COVID recovery charges, and Planning Board for MP Mountain Developers. Any comments? Seeing none, go to council business. Administration, Kathleen.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance 2025-12. It's an introduction for this ordinance. It's an ordinance adopting a revision and codification of the ordinances of the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey. This ordinance formally adopts and enacts the revised code of the Borough of New Providence, which consolidates all general and permanent ordinances of the borough into a single updated code document. The new code supersedes and replaces the 1990 Borough Code as amended. The original project began in 2012 and was expanded to include the years 2012 to 2025. Next is ordinance 2025-13, again, an introduction of this ordinance. It's an ordinance to adopt Chapter 13 of the Code of the Borough of New Providence entitled Assessors, Municipal. This ordinance establishes a new Chapter 13, Assessors, Municipal, in the Code of the Borough of New Providence, and it authorizes the mayor, with Borough Council approval, to appoint a municipal tax assessor and any necessary deputy tax assessors with compensation set by ordinance. The assessor and any deputies will serve 4-year terms beginning July 1st following the appointment and must hold a valid tax assessor certificate as required by New Jersey law. Their primary responsibility is to assess property for general taxation within the borough. Next is ordinance 2025-14, again, an introduction. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 147 of the Code and the Borough of New Providence entitled Fees and Licenses. This ordinance amends Chapter 147 Fees and Licenses of the Code to establish new fees for e-bike and e-scooter registration. A registration tag and card will cost $20, and a replacement tag will cost $5. The ordinance takes effect upon final passage and lawful publication. And Resolution 2025-267. This is a resolution of the Borough of New Providence supporting the New Jersey Climate Superfund Act. We are expressing support for the New Jersey Climate Superfund Act, which would hold large fossil fuel companies financially responsible for the damages their emissions have caused to New Jersey's people, infrastructure, and environment, instead of placing those costs on taxpayers.
Okay, community activities, Diane.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-268 is a salary resolution. It's that time of the year again, basketball season. We're hiring basketball coaches and scorekeepers. Resolution 2025-269 is a resolution appointing Elizabeth Lee as Community Activities Coordinator for the Borough of New Providence. And this is approving Liz Lee as a full-time employee in the Community Activities Department effective October 16th, 2026. We had something about this another meeting. Liz is taking the full-time position left vacant by Arlene Reagan's retirement. That's it.
Okay, engineering, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance, introduction of ordinance 2025-08, an ordinance of the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey, creating Chapter 116, planting, growing, and contaminant of bamboo for the code of the borough. So this reintroduces the bamboo ordinance we discussed. We're just removing that 30-day requirement that we all agreed to. Resolution 2025-270, resolution accepting the proposal of Colliers Engineering Design, Inc. for professional engineering services relating to the NJDEP stormwater mapping. So I think we mentioned this the last time. Approving the proposal from Colliers to provide professional engineering and GIS services to help the borough to meet the requirements of NJDEP Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4, Tier A permit. So this includes field data collection, stormwater mapping, preparation for a watershed improvement plan as required by the 2023 NJDEP MS4 guidance. And the borough has received a $25,000 NJDEP grant to support this effort.
Great. Finance, Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Resolution 2025-271, a resolution authorizing the payment of attached bills payable list. The amount is $240,609.24. Some of these significant items include $40,591. That is for our fourth quarter dispatch payment. Colliers Engineering, $25,952 for various projects. New Jersey American Water, $23,750 for hydrant maintenance and usage. We have UC Utilities for $20,532. This is our September disposal fees. The New Providence DID, $18,390. That's for the fourth quarter assessment. Quick Techs, $17,356 is our annual renewal for our police department. And Tree King for $14,050, and that's for tree removal.
Okay. And we have quite a few ordinances here, introductions, and I want to read these because we want to make sure we get them right. Okay, ordinance 2025, entitled Vehicles and Traffic. This ordinance amends Chapter 257, Vehicles and Traffic of the Borough Code to add new regulations governing the operation of low-speed electric bicycles and scooters. The new Article 9 prohibits the riding e-bikes and e-scooters on sidewalks, footpaths, parks, and recreation areas. It requires riders to follow traffic laws, obey signals, and ride with traffic. Helmets are mandatory for riders under 17, and the use of phones, earbuds, and other electronic devices while riding is prohibited. Riders must operate safely within the manufacturer's speed limits. Violations are subject to fines up to $100 for first offense, $200 for a second, and $500 for each subsequent offenses, with possible confiscation of the device. The ordinance takes effect upon final adoption and publication. Ordinance 15. This ordinance creates a new Chapter 143 electric scooter and electric bicycle registration in the Code of the Borough of New Providence. It requires all residents to register their electric bikes and scooters with the borough clerk before operating them on public street or place. Upon application and payment, the registration fee is set in Chapter 147, which we just talked about. Owners will receive the registration tag to be displayed on the device and a registration card listing ownership details. Tags are permanent unless suspended for violations. The ordinance also sets rules for transferring ownership, replacing lost or damaged tags, and authorizes police inspections to ensure proper registration and safe operation. The police department may prohibit the use of unregistered and unsafe devices until compliance is met. The ordinance takes effect upon final adoption and publication. Ordinance 16. This ordinance amends Chapter 191, Parks and Recreation Areas of the Borough Code to enhance safety by prohibiting the operation of parked motor vehicles, electric bicycles, electric scooters, and motorized bicycles in any park, playground, and open space or floodplain, except in designated roads, parking areas, or otherwise authorized by the chief of police. This ordinance takes effect upon final adoption. So as you can see, we're really mirroring what the county, and I think the state's going to come up with one too. Because everybody's talking about these e-bikes and scooters. They're just out of control. So
We're gonna have.
it has to be a big education process.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're gonna have any formal education, any meetings to discuss. There's a lot of questions I know I have from reading it.
The school's going to do something too.
I think the schools have already sent out notification to parents about, after the tragedy that happened in Scotch Plains.
Right.
They sent notification to all parents, and then after you adopt this at the next meeting, if it does get adopted, then the police department will work with Cindy to put out a campaign.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a town hall just on that.
Yeah, I would, at minimum, would request that we at least get a, FAQ, right? So, I mean, I read through it and questions like, what constitutes riding on the sidewalk, right? Pulling up on the sidewalk, is that riding on the sidewalk? No. To get your scooter out of the street. Riding scooters in the street is dangerous, right? So I know we want them in the street. We don't want them riding on sidewalks, but they have to go on the sidewalk, right? So there's
What do you mean they have to go?
to get from where you're going, from the road
Oh.
to where you're going to go to, you got to get on the sidewalk.
You can walk it on the sidewalk.
Those are things that I just want to make sure,
You can't
we
ride
clear
on
all
the
those up,
sidewalk.
that, people are educated and understand that, right? Because I could see people coming up into like a driveway, riding 20 feet on the sidewalk to go to where they need to go to.
Okay, you're up, Public Works.
Okay, resolution 272 is a resolution approving requisition R2502090 for Tilcon New York, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $13,859.82 for paving by the railroad tracks, part of our Morris County Co-op, number 6. So as you all know, our railroad tracks, we were dug up for quite a bit, right? And we finally got New Jersey Transit to give us the permits after a lot of phone calls and aggravation. And we were able to finally get somebody to come in and do it. So this is just paying that bill that I'm sure everybody's very, very thrilled that those are finished. Resolution 273 is a resolution approving requisition to R2502099 for Cooper Electric in an amount not to exceed $4,309.50 for emergency repair of low lift pump number 2 circuit breaker at the wastewater treatment plant. We needed a new circuit breaker, very important. Resolution 274 is a resolution approving requisition R2502155 for Jack Doheny Companies in an amount not to exceed $14,334.50 for sewer jet nozzles. So as you all know, we got a new sewer jet to help clean the sewers, and that sewer jet is like apparently it's a 1-inch sewer jet where our previous one's 3/4 inch. So they need new nozzles. They came with a couple of nozzles that they were using, but they were subpar. So these are they had reached out for 3 different companies to give them some estimates. They got two companies back. This is the lowest bid. So that's it.
Okay, we'll go to discussion items, nothing, committee reports. I wasn't here last meeting, had a little medical issue, and Alex, I want to thank you and the rescue squad and the police department. Guys are there quick.
No.
Yeah, you know, you get a little bossy, you know, when you're in charge. But it is National
you
First
listen well.
Responders Day. And, you know, I always say that our public safety services are outstanding, and I would trust my life and my family's life with any one of you. You guys are incredible. I know that the police department had a car show, which was excellent. At Fireman's Day, that was great. So I don't think I want to see another hot dog in a while. But, you know, but and they had National Drug Take Back on Saturday, which is, I can't believe how many unused drugs that people bring back. It's amazing, really. So, but it's a great program. So, besides that, besides all the new introduction of ordinances, you know, I know the police department went through some interviews and for new police officers. So we'll wait and see where they come up with. So we'll go to Matt.
Thank you. So a couple things. The community pool, I just wanted to mention that I'll be attending or hoping to try and attend their next meeting where they're going to be talking about the results of their previous year and their budget for next year. Trying to get out in front of that prior to next season. Their meeting's Tuesday. Unfortunately, we might not be here for the league. So see if they can change it so I can attend, because I really want them to get out in front of that. And if not, I'll try and get an update so I can keep you guys in the loop of where they're at. Planning board, the last planning board meeting we heard 70 Rider Way. We did not hear Toll Brothers at the last meeting. 70 Rider Way is the old Lindy property up off Mountain Avenue between Ryder and Southgate. 297 units, age restricted. That meeting, I think we heard from their civil engineer and their traffic engineer, and we'll hear from their planner and their architect in the next meeting. However, that meeting won't be the next meeting. The next meeting will be December 4th, where we'll hear Toll Brothers. So
December 8th.
December 9th. December 9th. Sorry, you're right.
South Street Market is the 8th.
Right. So I just want to mention for anyone that's paying attention, now that we have 2 applications going at the same time, right, we'll have to alternate, meetings between them. So pay attention to when those meetings are. If you're interested and want to participate, please do. You say you trust them with your life, and you actually lived it. So it's really nice to obviously we never want to have to have to live through something like that. But I couldn't agree with you more. Our first responders are what the backbone of our community, and we're very proud of every one of you guys that really do incredible work for everyone in the community, not just people who they do more than people know. When who they're there when you need them for an emergency, but they're there for way more than just that as well. And people should know that they do a lot more in the community as well. So thank you all for that, and I hope you had a great day.
They're at every single event town event.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but all the mandated training and everything else, and the optional training that they choose to do, just incredible.
Right.
You know, what they do, so,
And how many of them do both?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Well, they have a couple of crazy people that just keeps pulling other people in.
And last thing I want to mention was the street fair, which I agree was awesome. I had a lot of fun. Millie was exhausted. We walked up and down the street fair at least 3 or 4 different times. So I think we got about a couple miles of steps in there. You know, I think I mentioned to a few guys as we were walking, you know, when you become a council person, you go to events sometimes and you think, but prior to becoming a council person, going to events, I always used to say, wow, this is so much fun. I had a great time. Now I go to events and I look for ways like, you know, something bad could happen. I hope that no cars can get through there. Or I hope, you know, when Santa comes on the bank, I'm always like, please don't fall. Right. So like, but you know, just an amazing job. All the first responders, right? Our police was, I spoke to, I don't know, like 12 police officers and firemen, and it was just a great community event. And like you said, there was thousands of people, which is truly amazing. I've actually heard people tell me stories that they bought houses in New Providence because of our street fair, you know, 20 plus years ago. And it is a pretty cool event, and it speaks volumes to how, you know, things can get better, right? As long as people put their minds to it and are open to change, and you know, we can expand and make things better. And that's definitely an event that got better. So well done.
Hey, Alice.
Not much to report. Just Diane and I, Bernadette and Chief Hen have a meeting on Thursday in Elizabeth regarding the police project to see how the state can help us in whether it's procurement or value engineering. We're really looking forward to that meeting to see what ideas they have. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, just a reminder, everybody on council or everybody in the audience, New Providence Cricket Club has their Diwali celebration November 15th. It's a great event. Matt and I attended it last year. We learned how bad of a dancer I am, how good of a dancer he is. But it's a really, really great community event. I urge everybody to go.
I think we have videos of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could, I think, on their Facebook page is a QR code of how to sign up to get tickets.
Nadine.
Thank you, Mayor. So just a couple things. So first, affordable housing, just to give everybody a status on where we're at with that. Where I had left off, I think I had indicated that we had received 5 challenges to our original plan. And the committee is meeting together to try to figure out what to do about those challenges, talking to some of the challengers, et cetera. And we do have a mediation coming up on November the 7th. So stay tuned. We'll be trying to get through this as best as possible to the best that we can for the borough. Mental Health Committee, I just want to make sure I get this right. For those who remember, I think the last meeting I had talked about something that was being done related to the Anxious Generation book. Now watch, this is not going to work. I had it up this whole entire time. So part 2 of that series. So the Anxious Generation is on the New York Times bestseller list. It's about getting our children through this digital age and the effects of mental health on them. The first meeting was a panel that happened on October the 15th. Full house, the media center was full. Lots of great questions that were posed to several different members on the panel. The next part of that discussion is coming up on Tuesday, November 11th. And this one specializes on grades K to 5, focused conversation discussing age-specific challenges such as screen time and free play. So for me, having a second grader, that's going to be a very important topic. So I highly recommend parents of children that age come join us at the Media Center and get the book, The Anxious Generation. I have it. I still have to read it. But great topics brought to us by the school district. Amazing thing, and all related to mental health. Board of Health meeting tomorrow, so more to follow on that. And then are you going to talk about Rev 250 at all? Okay, yeah, I had a mug here to show everybody, but it's not here anymore. Our mugs are for sale through the Historical Society. They're very nice little steins, $20, and they will help fund some of our projects this year.
Great. Okay, Kathleen.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention briefly, Red Ribbon Week is underway.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
There was
So I read the
a
proclamation.
kind of a launch. There was a launch at Centennial Park last week, and the middle school peer leaders started going through the town and tying the red ribbons on trees and lampposts and things. So it continues through October 31st. So thanks to the middle school and the teachers and counselors who are supporting that. That's a very important recognition of trying to prevent drug use.
And they have a dance at the end, right?
Yes, yes, the Municipal Alliance helps support that dance for the middle schoolers. And I just wanted to also acknowledge that the call out for volunteers has reaped some rewards. We've gotten some good feedback for the Diversity Committee in particular. So we're looking forward to beefing up that committee as well, and should have everything finalized by our next meeting in December to line ourselves up for the appointments in January. And that's it.
Diane.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to jump off of what Kathleen was just saying, so right now is our time for council advisory committees. It's kind of like an open enrollment. So anybody who wants to be considered for a position on any of our council advisory committees, now is the time. And also actually to jump off what Nadine was saying, one of our council advisory committees is our Revolution 250, America 250, which is centered around the 250th anniversary of the United States. So we will have a lot of different activities and committees that will need to have volunteers. So, you can just volunteer for that and just say, put me on any committee, or, if you know of a committee, because I know that at the street fair, at Pioneer Day, there was a lot of talk, and the Historical Society and the America 250 Committee had a joint booth, and there was a lot of information going around there. So it's going to be a really exciting year. I'm very excited about that. Can you tell I'm excited? And just to bounce off what Mayor Morgan had said, we've had a lot of wonderful events over the last month. So we kind of didn't do a coffee with council last month and the month before because of all the events. We've seen like hundreds of people come up to us and talk to us about different things. So I love this time of year. Thank you to everybody who has, come up to us and asked us questions or, given us comments about anything. Community activities, we talked about the hiring of basketball coaches. So winter registration is open. There's still some different openings in some classes. I don't know if you've seen on our Facebook page, on the police department, or on the New Providence Recreation, they're hosting a free women's self-defense class for ages 16 plus on Thursday, November 13th at 7 p.m. Registration is now open via Community Pass, and it seems like it's going to be a great thing. It's 7 to 8:30 in the rec gym, so I'm excited about that. You talked about the Historical Society. They also do need people. We all said thank you to the business community for Fall Fest. That was wonderful. And I believe this Saturday, the Ladies Auxiliary of the William Packard Club has a craft fair at the William Packard Club, 10 to 4. That's always fun. And do you have chat with the mayor on Friday? Chat with the mayor on Friday? What are you
Yeah.
going to say?
I was going to say, maybe you should mention the event you and Kathleen attended
On Wednesday. Wednesday.
for Al.
Oh, right. Thank you. I was thinking of several things. Congratulations to Al. Kathleen and I and other members of the borough, he received, you're going to have to remind me of the exact wording of the award. It was an award given by the
Servant of the Year.
Public Servant of the Year. I thought it was like 3 words.
Sorry.
No, well, whatever it was, but it was a wonderful event. It's a wonderful honor. So congratulations to Al.
Also, Joe Eberly.
And Joe Eberly
Yeah.
received something,
Business of the year.
Business of the Year. And there were others, but I think those were our 2 from New
Providence.
Providence. It was well attended. It was a really nice event.
Well deserved.
Well deserved, very well deserved. Okay, I'm sure I forgot something.
I'm going to bounce off of what you said about volunteer, the committee volunteer applications. And I just wanted to remind everyone up here that to go back to your committees and remind them that existing volunteers need to re-up. So we're not going to just assume that they're coming back, because whenever we do that, we assume wrong. So they do have to reapply each year. So go back to your committees and just remind them to go online and fill out that volunteer application again. So we have everyone accounted for. On the night of Al's award, we couldn't go because Nadine and I were at a fundraiser for the Rotary Club for their mental health initiative. So they really are pretty amazing. They've helped out our mental health committee a lot with helping us fund some different aspects of Mental Health Awareness Month. So Nadine and I attended that. It was very nice.
Dueling pianos.
Doing pianos. It was fun.
It helps bring our 10-town committee
Yeah.
effort to fruition. Rotary does a lot throughout the county.
Last week we had a library board meeting, and the library just continues to exceed expectations. They just get more and more busy. Stacy will often send us pictures of inside the library of like a full house. She's like, there's not one seat left. There's no parking in the parking lot. The night of the library board meeting, I had to park over here because I couldn't find a parking spot. The library was full, the Conti room had an event going on. It is just becoming a community hub, which is really nice to see. They have a big push right now for library cards. So if you did not get your new library card, please go.
Digital.
I stopped.
Yeah, they have 4
Digital.
different designs.
Really?
You can get it digital. You can just go online and get it.
Well, you could get digital, but they're handing out nice little cards
Dragon
too.
one.
A little dragon. I got the
dragon.
dragon. I got the dragon.
I still haven't done it.
So they're actually pushing it also in the schools. So one of the things that I thought was interesting was they were at the high school encouraging kids to get their library cards. And they said that over 100 kids signed up for library cards because now that they don't have their phones, right, they are looking for something to read, listen to, so that whole aspect of not, being glued to their telephones and becoming part of that anxious generation.
There you go.
So they're actually reading, which is amazing. Yes. And then lastly, what was I going to, let's see. So Nadine was talking about the anxious generation. And this just goes to show how the library and some of the committees, they collaborate, right? And the book, The Anxious Generation, is on the New York Times bestselling list. The library went ahead at the request of the Mental Health Committee and ordered 9 hard copies of that book, and they have 100 digital copies of it, and every single one is checked out.
Wow.
So there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So amazing.
That's really great.
So that's it for my reports.
Okay, Bernadette.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few updates. The pool bridge, the contractor has installed a temporary bridge in anticipation of removing the existing bridge to repair for the replacement of it. Right now, work has stopped as Colliers is waiting for a response from the contractor about calculations for the actual grade for the temporary bridge, as well as schedule for the construction moving forward for tear out and replacement of. So as soon as we have that, we'll get it out to everybody. As a reminder, blowing and sweeping fallen leaves into the street makes them a safety and stormwater hazard for both you and your neighbors. Ahead of Thursday's storm, There's a nor'easter coming, if people are not aware. Ahead of Thursday's storm, we're asking that all leaves be removed from the street, put them up on your property so they don't go into the storm sewer and clog them up ahead of the heavy rain that we're expected. On a normal week, leaves should not be in the street prior to Thursday of your collection week. So if your collection day is Monday the 3rd, they shouldn't be in the street prior to Thursday the previous week.
Are they going to finish the section that,
They should be done by Thursday. The first few weeks, there's not a lot of heavy leaves, so they go through it pretty quick. I just want to read really quick. The police department is going through their accreditation process. They are scheduled for an on-site assessment on Monday as part of this program to achieve accreditation by verifying that it meets recognized professional best practices. It's administered by the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. The accreditation program requires agencies to comply with best practice standards in 5 basic areas: the administrative function, personnel function, operations, the investigative function, and the arrest and detainee function. Agency employees and the public are invited to offer comments by calling 908-743-1260 on Monday, November 3rd, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 11 p.m. So 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., sorry. Comments will be taken by the assessment team. Email comments can be sent to the police department to the attention of Lieutenant Don Stratenovic at dstratenovic@nppolice.org. Telephone comments are limited to 5 minutes and must address the agency's ability to comply with the NJSA COP standards. Please contact Lieutenant Stratenovic at 908-665-8275 for more information. So Al has made mention on multiple occasions that our police department is one of the few who have been accredited multiple times over the years. And we're just at the end of our cycle, so they're looking to be recertified. And last but not least, I just want to remind you people especially that next month there's only one meeting. It's on Monday, November 10th. It's not a Tuesday, it's a Monday. Write that down. Due to the Thanksgiving holiday and the League of Municipalities. So that's all I have.
Can we just get one quick update? I know the Passaic Street Bridge should be fairly close at this point. I know there was some stonework, some minor, a lot of little minor things that they needed, but it was a list.
Last I heard, they're looking to pave next week.
Pave and stripe, and then
That's what they're waiting for at this point.
so it should be fairly soon.
Should be soon.
I did have something. The community, we received the $10,000 community energy planning grant, and there is a survey that we're asking everybody to complete. So,
Look at last night.
Is it the Pioneer Day too? They had a nice.
yeah, there was at the booth. Yeah, so don't forget to do that.
And we want to congratulate the Pioneer football team for being undefeated in the regular season. And they play Saturday.
Saturday.
So,
It's a caucus at 1:00.
Yeah. Nice home game. Yeah. Okay. At this time, we have public comments. Anyone wishing to address council, raise their hand, give their name and address. Yes, Kate.
Good evening, everybody. Great Pioneer Day. Can't wait for the defense class, signed up this morning. Okay, so I've always believed that feedback is a gift, especially the negative kind, because it means that the person cares enough to share it, even when it's uncomfortable. It means that there's maybe still hope. And I'll be honest, this is an uncomfortable moment for me, but what I'm about to say feels too important to hold back. So I'm here tonight on behalf of the RISE NP task force that we created. For months, we've been trying to work with the borough to help residents understand what's being done about flooding and stormwater in our town. We did receive our first response and email today from Councilperson Coggin restating updates from October 13th. While there was nothing new in that, we saw that as a gesture of respect to our group and what we're trying to do. He didn't have to reply, but he did, and that said something to us. Unfortunately, we can't say that we're feeling that same level of respect for our engagement from all of the leadership as part of your side of things. And that's why we're here tonight. It feels like something's blocking progress. And I don't know if it's coordination, leadership, insufficient resources, or an unwillingness or hesitancy to communicate. I don't know. And unfortunately, as I've said before, people will likely just assume it's all of the above when you don't give them anything to go on. That's kind of where accountability comes in. It comes from you, it comes from all of you, it comes from your end as well, to make sure that this work is organized, transparent, and responsive. And it's not feeling that way to us right now. It's been 3 months since the July 14th storm, and residents still have nothing concrete that they can point to. A crew here and there doesn't register to us as a substantial update, because without the context of what they're doing, we don't understand what it means for us, for our short-term Thursday and our long-term summer and in the years ahead. We didn't speak at the last meeting. That was on purpose. We want to give you the space to lead. We want to give you the space to show up, because it shouldn't feel this difficult for a group of professional adults with such great expertise to take 8+ weeks to come up with something that feels like we have an anchor to hold on to. We have that hope. We're not seeing the formation of a partnership. It's frustrating and it's disappointing given the urgency of this issue. We cannot predict weather. We know it. We're having storms coming at the end of October. We have hurricanes in the Atlantic, and it's scary. It's really scary for the people that are living this every single day. Our task force will be giving an update on November 1st. Via the community Facebook and an opted-in resident email address that we've collected over the past 3 months. Based on what we know today, it's not going to be a great update. I want it to be better. We want it to be better. The people who are showing up here every 2 weeks for 2-3 hours, waiting for a crumb of something that we can hold on to, want this to be better for our town and for our properties and for our families and our homes. But we don't have anything yet. And we're here tonight to say, what do we need to do? What can we expect? How can we help? We have tons of people who are ready to jump in. But like, can you just give us something? Like, please?
Can I start? Sure. So I want to start with just saying.
For one, you have to understand, I made it perfectly clear that this operation like this is going to take many, many, many years. We have spent almost $750,000 so far this year to upgrade the flume, pipes, and everything else. So when you say, what are you doing? We are taking care of it. The problem is, to get the funding you need has to come from the federal government. Now, we're working with Berkeley Heights, Long Hill, Summit, the 2 Chathams. I think Plainfield's getting involved now, right, Bernadette?
Scotch Plains, yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that have to go on. This is not just a local problem, but it's a regional problem. And if we work with all the partners that we can, then we're going to get a better chance of getting funding to remediate a lot of these problems. I think we told you how frustrated we were with the DEP. We can't even go in and clean the river out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're doing everything we can. I know you've been working with Colliers and Bernadette. We've been working with Montana, carrying pipes and a lot of different other things. But I don't know when you say, what can we do? I mean, you got to give us time to get this. We had this whole thing set in place with the river, and Congress pulled the funding.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate
So-
that. And I appreciate the passion in your voice. I hear it and I know that it is real and I believe that the care is there. Can I make one distinction that I think will
Yeah.
help? I mean, I truly mean this. So when you talk about DEP, it makes people like myself and my property that is not near the Passaic and not near an easement or a brook. It makes me think that there's not enough education about the daisy chain of what impacts what. And for instance, I'm going to give you a tangible example, and I do think this is very important. When the crew from Montana came out to my house on August 19th, they dug up my property, to replace a pipe. When they dug up the property, there was no pipe left to replace. There was an extender piece that I was told was actually not even the right piece for the pipe that should have been in the ground that was no longer there because of tree roots and all of the natural things that happened over decades of time. I don't know if that narrative is right or wrong, but it's what I got. And I want you to tell me you were misinformed. Here is what we observed. Here is what this means. Here's what the fix is. Here's what the next step is. I'm not asking you to solve it overnight. The residents here are not asking for you to solve this overnight, but it feels like you could communicate and educate while we wait for the things that we need. Or we can help you write letters. We can petition. We can show up. We have media contacts, like
Well,
that
well,
type
I
of collaboration.
have said it a number of times, if you want to write letters, write them to the congressman and to the federal senators.
Okay.
That's really, I mean, we're in contact with them, and it's both sides of the aisle. Angie's been in touch with Senator Booker's office, and Senator Kim, and we've been in touch with Congressman Kane. So I mean, it's not like we're not in contact with people, but unfortunately, every time you go up higher in government bureaucracy, it gets more and more difficult. And it's the most frustrating thing to any local official is dealing with a lot of this stuff. The states, it's not easy dealing with them sometimes. Look at what we had to do with transit, with just getting it paved. I mean, it's just one thing after another. And it doesn't help that they keep moving the goalposts too. Every time you think you have an answer, then they say, well, now you can't do that.
I would add, I think it's a two-headed monster, and I think
Yeah.
you're hitting it. There's the DEP at the state level, and there's residents like you, Gail, that are not, which is a local issue, which is a New Providence. So we have to attack it both ways. At the last meeting, I mentioned how the goal is to allocate funding every budget cycle to be able to snake these lines to make sure the residents feel comfortable that the water is running and flowing. I think we had the one resolution today for some of those, both the mapping and for the water jet as well, some tips there. The one thing we don't do a good job, and we talk about it all the time, is we don't promote all the good things that we are doing, both on the committee level and what we've been doing. I think in 2 meetings, I think that we've had with the Stormwater Committee, a lot of progress has been made. And I've learned this over my last 3 years on council. In my private professional career, things move a lot quicker. If I want to get a pipe replaced, I can get it replaced rather quickly. At the municipal level, it takes time. It really does take time. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean we can't. I think you've always,
Educate.
well, not just educate. I think you've always petitioned, just let you know what's happening, right? If they come out to your property or to your neighborhood, what the heck are they doing there?
Yeah.
What did they find? And sometimes we can share that. Sometimes we don't know ourselves. Sometimes we're at the mercy of the vendor. They'll tell us, they'll get back to us. But I agree that we need to be a little bit more transparent and work with your group going forward. So I'm certainly committed to doing it.
I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of times I'm going to be carrying, and they'll see pipes being put in that we don't even know about.
I know.
People have put in pipes, I guess builders or whatever, and they're not put in properly, then they back up, and it's, it's not easy, but we're on it. It's just, it's gonna take a long time to get through the whole town.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned, we do have a website, a portion on the New Providence website, stormwater management. I think updates are going to be put there. Findings are going to be put there. It hasn't happened yet. We don't have too much to share at the moment, but I think it will be coming very soon. But yeah, I hear you and your group loud and clear. The ones that are not affected by the river, the Passaic River, I know sometimes we say we need to attack that as well, but it doesn't resonate with somebody that's dealing with.
Well, and as a community, we're here for all for each other. We know some have a much longer haul. We know some there are probably fixes. I know I'm grateful. I feel that my area is on the front end of those fixes, but I'm still here saying we can give them some expectations too, even if it's 2 years down the line. Some great milestones we look forward to would be quarterly, once, like just a little nugget would go a long way. And it is our duty as well in the group that we started to update the community. We have not updated the community since September. I think it was September 11th or 10th. It must have been the 10th, right after that meeting. So, our plan will be to share intent, but highlight that it's yet to be seen. And hopefully we can continue to have this dialogue. We appreciate that you're talking. I have to tell you, I didn't know if I was going to get stonewalled tonight, so I'm just breathing a sigh of relief that we're still talking. So thank you.
We don't want to stumble yet, but I don't want to
I'm
give you.
just like waiting for the X on the door. I'm not allowed
No.
anymore.
But I don't want to give you information that's incorrect.
I
And you know
understand.
what? There are places, there are no fixes. I'll be honest with you.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
We're all seeing the same stuff, unfortunately.
You
Yeah.
know, but we're doing the best we can with it. And like I said, when I first became mayor back in, what was it, 99, I mean, we weren't even paving roads. And I said, our road program is going to be 20 years. And we've come up now to 20 years, and we almost have every single road paved. But this is another thing that's come up that it's going to take a long time, and we're going to have to little at a time. That's why we broke it up into sections and taking care of the hot spots first.
And emergency response protocols
Yeah.
before next summer.
We know that when it floods, the only way to get from this side of town to the other side of town is Livingston Avenue.
Yep.
And we also know
Maybe not for
that
long.
if there's a fire on this side of town, we need a fire truck here. And if somebody needs an ambulance, there has to be an ambulance on that side.
But
So
think about
we
neighbor
understand.
chains. It was what we're talking about. When my neighbor couldn't get to Santa Fe to get their kid, but someone else happened to be around there, and so that's the stuff that we're working on our end too. We have a lot of ideas. We hope to bring them to you. We hope we can collaborate on what that looks like. We don't want to be disparate, and that will just cause more confusion. We're really here to protect this town, to protect and support the leadership, and hopefully I feel this moment can continue to push us forward, so that's a good sign.
How often does the stormwater committee meet? Do you guys have a set schedule, or is it kind of ad hoc right now?
No, because we have to, we're going to be meeting with the other towns. That's the
Yeah,
next
I think
one.
the next big data point for us is this mapping that's going to happen by DEP. We had the drone unit I mentioned last time. That was very helpful video, but now Colliers is going to be out and about.
And I'm sure the committee, when you do meet and you get information regarding the mapping, that will come out to you, maybe a heads up of which council meeting to come to, because there'll be a report from the stormwater committee meeting.
Oh my gosh, you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
Just like a heads up, it's going to be on the agenda versus just, I love you guys, and these have been pretty
Sign up for
interesting. That
Notify
chicken
Me.
one I watched from the hospital last
Yeah,
two Tuesdays ago.
I think the mapping for Colliers is a big task, big lift, and I think also what's going to feed into that is the police department knows where the trouble spots are. The fire department, we got to coordinate it into one list, and I think we need to hear from the residents as well. You guys are in the thick of it.
Yeah, that can
Just-
be our next
just-
deliverable.
Just
We'll
to make
share our
sure,
list with
make
you.
sure our lists are.
Yes.
are-
And
are-
we can contextualize what people are seeing in their town versus in their area versus what you might be observing or measuring under the ground, I think that's a big distinction because no one would know what I was experiencing on my property had they not seen it themselves.
Well, I can tell you, emergency management, we've been on this for years.
Mhm.
So, and we also talked a lot about, over by Maple Street, and a lot of different places, so.
I understand. Thank you for all of this
Okay.
time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kate.
Hi, good evening. I live on Central Avenue and I'm
Name and-
very,
Okay,
oh, my
name
name,
and
sorry.
address.
My name is Gioconda Gallo Etienne and I live on Central Avenue. I was affected, not just this time,
What
on
number in Central?
807.
Okay,
Anything else?
well.
I don't know
Central
what-
Avenue goes from 100 to
I've never done this before, so yeah, you need to tell me what to say. All right.
You're doing fine.
So, yeah, the July 14th storm was very bad, but that was not the first storm that my house was affected by adversely. We were also affected by Ida a few years ago. And that was the very first time that we really understood the panic of having to get water out when there is nowhere to put that water. My sump pump was going the entire time, and the system was just so overwhelmed that there was nowhere for it to go. We have done work on our property to try to mitigate it on our side, but we've gotten to a point where what we can do, like singly as a unit, is just not going to cut it. Right now, we need the town to step in. I have contacted civil engineers, and the last civil engineer, luckily, was very honest and said, "This is beyond your property. This has to be something that your city or borough has to commit to." Now, the reason that I bring this up is because there's a few issues going on. On Central Avenue, as you probably are very well aware, the water is just overwhelming on the street itself. So cars are trying to pass through right at that easement bridge, and that gets a ton of water where like they basically have to close off the street. That water, there's so much passage that it creates wakes and it pushes the water onto my property. That's issue number one. Issue number two is there used to be a system of like drainage in the back of our yards that used to go across the entire neighborhood to the easement that have now all been filled in by most people, or erosion, one or the other. And so what happens is that the water, my property happens to be the lowest point and the water accumulates there. Now, beyond the issue of my flooding, the issue that I'm very concerned about is all of these new buildings that are coming in. And I heard last time when I was here, the Toll Brothers or whoever it was, their lawyer was very dismissive of the concerns that the town is having. And I just want to play a little tiny clip from the day of the storm where my son says this.
Mommy, I can literally swim in this water.
There was so much water. We probably had 3 or 4 feet of water in our backyard. So for builders that are coming in and making a profit off of our town and not giving a crap about my children and the children in our town is very frustrating. And it's a slap in the face to the taxpayers
that are here year over year paying for these taxes. And something has to be done in order for our property values to continue to be for this town to continue to be a worthwhile town to live in, to grow old in. There has to be something done. And it does need the community as a whole, not just us as property owners, but the town as well to put in. And I understand that things take a long time, but we cannot stop there, because every single time that storms are announced, my husband and I go into panic mode, thinking about what we're going to do to get that water out of our property. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We understand what everybody's goes through. I mean, I get rain here, I get water in my house. I get it. You know, unfortunately, it comes down the road and comes right in. I wish I had a good answer for you. I really do. If it was easy to solve, it would have been done by now. So it's tough, and it's not only here. It's all along the valley here on the other side of 22. There's just too much building going on. Matt and I are on the planning board, and you're right, they were dismissive. But that doesn't mean they're not required to do the residential site improvement stuff. So they can be as dismissive as they want, but they have to control the water. So, yeah, you're right. I'm still trying to wrap my head around all these people want all this affordable housing, high density housing, and then they want to be environmentalists too. I can't understand how they swear the whole thing up. But you know, the law's the law, and we have to let them in to do it. We just have to control it the best way we can. So, but I feel your pain. I really do. I know exactly what you're saying.
So what happened at the planning board with them being dismissive? Has that questioning been done already? Is that done and over with?
No,
or-
they haven't even got off the first.
Okay,
We've had like 4 meetings, and it doesn't. We're still at ground zero.
so are they going to be discussing the water impacts?
We've discussed water impacts, and we have regulations now and ordinances now that require builders to reduce runoff, right? So any new construction really needs to prove that it's reducing runoff. The lawyer is I wouldn't say dismissive, more so he's advocating for his client in an aggressive manner. How about that?
Right.
Right. And I think it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And if you were at any of the meetings and you heard me question him, specifically for certain things that I was expecting and wanted him his testimony to prove. Right? At the end of the day, that a lot of this high density housing, building 200 homes to get 20, 30 affordable units is about the money, bottom line, right? And we know that. And unfortunately, we have mandates from the state of New Jersey, right? And the only way we can change that is to change the mandates at the state level, right? And honestly, I don't think there's anybody up here or in the borough that would say, no, we don't want anyone building another high density housing project in this town. Matter of fact, I spoke to someone earlier today that said there are towns that have never had high density housing, and when they're coming in, they're totally not prepared, and it's a really major issue for them. But yeah, I mean, again, like I said, if we could, we'd say no every time. Like, we don't want it. Can we figure out a way to get affordable housing, right? If we're required to build so many units, can we do that in a way that would alleviate us having to build all the units? We do that in a heartbeat. But that's 60, 70, 80 million dollars. That's probably a low number. So unfortunately, we got to do the best we can to make sure that we get the best result for the borough. And I'll be honest with you, we spend many hours there, and there's everyone on that planning board, by the way, other than the mayor and myself, are just residents like yourself, right? And they're trying really hard to just make sure that they get the best outcome for the borough as well. Yeah.
Well, just make a comment. I know your property pretty well. I walk my dog there all the time. I know the section you're describing, the back of everybody's backyards, that's private property. That's not to say that we can work together and seeing, hey, can residents get together and maybe have a tributary there that leads into that runoff by Bard Field, right? The river that runs there. And I'm assuming that's what overflows and eventually gets into your property as well. But I think everybody up here totally sympathizes. We're very sorry. No child should ever have to feel unsafe in their own home. But I think going back of how we can work together with you guys, I mean, examples like that are very good for us to hear and to understand and to explore what we can do to fix it. So thank you for coming. I know it's not easy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name's Calvin Young. I live on 25 Delwick. So similar, like Mayor Morgan, you've mentioned the water comes down the street right onto your property. Similar problem like mine. I'm part of Kate's group, where the water comes right off Devon from Springfield and pretty much runs right down my driveway into the backyard area, and it's a low spot. So there's 6, 7 houses back there where there's a sewer easement, and it just comes up through the sewer and just floods the whole area.
Yeah.
Gets into my garage, and like with the mud, the construction going on Devon, like the last storm, I was hosing out my garage of like mud, just the silt and everything after the water receded. Lost a couple, power equipment, generator and things like that because it was in my garage. But as far it kind of ties a couple of these things that we've been talking about, that you've been talking, like the development and everything. So I just felt like I had to come up and say something.
Okay, in fact, where you live, they say Mill Pond Road is right down the street. That was all a pond at one time.
Yeah.
Used to be a cider mill down there.
Yeah, a couple of my neighbors have
Yeah.
been there since I think they started building the street. It wasn't all the way through
Yeah, right.
until Mill Pond. Like they've lived there that
Yeah.
long. So yeah, I've heard that it used to be a pond that
Yeah.
was filled.
Well,
So
that
it is a
was
low
Way
spot.
before my time, but yeah. And, I always said Robert School wouldn't even have been built now. I mean, it was all swamp down there. So, I mean, it's all low areas, and with the advent of all this building, it's just gotten worse over the years.
Yeah. So like as far as the building and development,
Mm.
is there any way to like require some sort of at least a developer to assist with funding these infrastructure improvements for the stormwater? Because like some of those, I've talked to the town about it too, and they said that the stormwater drain in town is undersized for modern standards. So as far as like upgrading those to,
Well, I don't know about that. What the problem is, when the river fills up, then the creeks fill up, and there's nowhere for the water to go. And that's why the real answer is to dredge the Passaic River. I mean, when I was a kid, it used to be 9 feet deep. Now they say you can walk across it. So, I mean, there's so much silt and garbage in the river, and there's no place for it to go. And I brought it up to the Army Corps of Engineers, and they're saying, well, you got to think about the people downstream. Well, what did they do years ago? I mean, this makes no sense.
Just to comment on your design standards, I think when the stormwater system was designed in the late 60s for the town, 2 inches of water per hour is kind of the industry standard. As we all know, the intensity of storms is a lot stronger now. Part of the goal too is to work with our engineers to figure out how much can our system take, assuming it's clean of debris and whatnot. So that's definitely a goal for us to accomplish. I think if you ask engineers today, they would probably put in it for 2 inches. Right now, I'm in my facility, we're going to 4 inches per hour, but that takes time and that takes little pockets of areas that are having problems to figure out. So that's definitely, I think our first priority is going to be to make sure all the lines are clear and the water can flow, and then to see what areas are undersized and see what we can do. But as the mayor and we're all saying, that's not an overnight project. That's going to take a little time, but.
And the impact too, right?
Yeah.
Like Al said, the impact of increasing the size of the sewer pipes, on this side of town will affect the other side of town, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta look at all of that. But I think that's what the committee was created basically to do. And I think once they map everything, right, and start working on, and that was another question I had. Were you part of I know the engineer had a bunch of people that had some questions and concerns about certain areas. Was that one of the areas that they went to?
I was not at that meeting,
Okay.
but I talked to I meant like the town, New Providence's building department, because like the house that they're building on Devon, I talked to Colliers about that, and they said they claim that the property was not raised, but clearly you can tell it's a good
Higher.
2-3 feet higher than it used to be. So all that water becomes my problem. So,
it's, I don't think that project's ever gonna get done. And that's one of the rules that the state has. Your building permit is valid if you do work on it one day out of the year. I mean, that's ridiculous. And this guy's been there doing this house for what, 4 years?
3-4 years, yeah. So, but yeah, as far as developing the town, is there any way to have stricter standards than, like,
You
as far as
really have to go by the
stormwater,
state
like
regs.
not
But-
make things worse than it is,
Yeah,
at least?
any new development, they have to put in, I don't know, do they call
20
it retention basins?
Yeah, it has to reduce by.
And it gets released slowly into the system. So they have to come up with, you can put it, you're an engineer.
They have to do a stormwater management plan. The current ordinance that we have in town, they have to reduce it by about 10% that what's currently there.
Right.
So they have to first measure what's currently there. As Robert can tell you in the back there, the coefficients they use is sometimes suspect, and they sometimes do back into a number that they want to hear. But our engineers are pretty well aware of that. When I say ours, the department you went to with Keith and Carmen. So yeah, they have to, by law, reduce the runoff than what's currently there. And these retention basins, part of the problem with the retention basins, in my opinion, is we have very solid clay ground here. So the way the water seeps in is probably not at the same rate as it would on let's say, in Long Beach Island. But yeah, we definitely enforce that. And I think Matt could speak. I mean, part of it with their planning board, and they do try to make sure that the builders do as much as possible for what's best for our town.
Do those computations take into account the clay soil?
They should. They should. And then sometimes the house you're talking about under construction, as we all drive by, you see on a heavy rainstorm, the water is like a pool in there, and the water will sit there for a little while. So that's a problem for me. So yeah, that has to be definitely taken into account, and I believe our engineers do that.
Okay. And another thing to consider is also with those catch basins, the seepage pits and everything that all the new construction that's required to have, which is good. They're like, sometimes they're tied into the system that can't handle it already. So it just makes things, it just exacerbates the problem.
Correct.
So
I wish I could tell you what you want to hear, but you're
I wish I had
100
magic wand.
you're 100% correct.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to, put it out there so you are aware of
Yeah.
it, but it sounds like you already are, so.
But thank you for coming and telling us.
Thank you.
Yes, Robert.
Hi. Good evening, Mayor. Yeah, Robert Sherman, 15 Hawthorne Drive. A few things. First, about a month or maybe a month and a half ago, I showed up, talked about that truck by Bard Sackerfield, and you guys said that you're going to look at it, getting it cleaned up. Well, it's still there with both doors kind of wide open and a rusted out fire extinguisher on the ground by it.
Keith spoke to the builder. They have 30 days to remedy it.
Okay, well, I think from the first day time. mentioned, it's
From
past
when
30.
Keith spoke to them, they have 30 days.
Okay, you don't have any
And,
idea
and
what-
it's a private property, so
it's a little more difficult being a private
Correct.
property, but do you have any idea when Keith spoke?
I
to
don't.
them? Okay. I'll write down 30 days. Okay, I think, Alex, you mentioned earlier that the Collier study is going to involve storm drainage pipes and GIS data. Since us taxpayers are funding this work, will it be available to us?
100%.
Public upon request?
Once it's completed, it'll be on the website.
Okay, because I tried to get that GIS data on storm drains and it was refused. I found half of it on the tax records.
Mr. Sherman put in an Oprah request for all of the stormwater mapping, and he was denied based on the fact that I believe it was more of a security thing to have all of that information out there.
So once we have it, Bernadette, is it okay to share?
It may not be in the form that he is looking for, but
Okay.
it would be in some form.
Well, it will be in a form that will be readable by a member of the public, because obviously DEP has to be able to look at that data too. And
Unfortunately, we're living in a very weird time, so that's why it was denied to you, because, having the entire map of the stormwater system, you could easily go into the stormwater system in one place and pop up in another.
Well,
And it's an issue. That's why it was originally denied.
yeah, I looked at some of the publicly labeled easements. I think there's only one that a person could enter. And it's near
I
their
just know what
house.
I was told, that's all.
Near your house.
Near my house?
Oh, a block or two over. See what happens when you look at data, you know what's there.
Sure.
Okay, Mayor, you mentioned $750,000 besides the work on Third Street. What has been done and where has it been done?
The flume,
What, right
the
on,
water flume up on
Deerfield.
Deerfield.
on Oakdale?
Deerfield, there's a water flume.
Okay, that was Woodland, right? Deerfield, that's the one near your house, right?
Yeah,
So okay, that was a repair job to that area.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that was part of that. Okay, now, Mayor, you were talking about waiting for the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm just wondering, will it be in my lifetime, if I want to place a bet on that?
I'm not betting on it.
I'm 72, so.
Like I said, they came 3 years ago, and we were all set, and
Okay.
Congress pulled the funding.
In place of that, since it may take a while, because if it's approved, there'll be environmental challenges, which probably won't go far, but towns down the river will challenge it. So I'm wondering, why can't the town do something within its borders to retain the water coming down the hill, all from the south side of town to the flat areas in the middle of town? Can't the town do something about
That's-
retaining water, retention basins, which can work for downpours? What Alex pointed out about the clay is correct, but that's for after the storm. But during the storm is what's necessary, because I live near Gia, and actually her house is higher than mine.
I think you and I had this conversation at the Pioneer Day. There are, from our last meeting with Colliers and the Stormwater Committee, we are looking at areas of town where that could take place. We don't know who owns the land. We have to, there's a lot of homework to be done. As you know, Colliers has to design it. These things cost money. It's definitely on our radar. We want to make sure that we address every possible idea. I think it's a great concept. We both agree on that. Whether it's feasible or not, we can't answer that today.
Well, looking at the tax map, most of the land, large areas of land that's privately held is what's designated for affordable housing along Central. Beyond that area, most of that property that's not developed is owned by the town, and large sections of it has been designated as green acres.
Correct.
Now, New Jersey DEP allows retention basins for flooding issues to be built on green acres with their permission. Has the town ever applied for that?
Not at the moment, not at the
We
moment.
don't even, we have any idea whether or not we would put a retention basin in one of our green spaces, if that's going to be helpful or not, right?
Well, considering that if you had something like, let's say, an acre size, that's a few feet deep, that's a few acre feet of water retention. And that amounts to a lot into the region where I live and Gio lives and other people down the creek there.
I'm just saying, like, you're asking us whether or not we can put retention basins in open spaces. I think we're telling you that we're doing a lot of research with our engineers.
It's a task that we need to look into.
We're gonna explore every opportunity and every change that we can make to help mitigate for everyone in town without making it worse for anyone in town.
Because in talking with Alex, I mentioned areas that are possible.
Yeah, but I'm not minimizing the suggestion. I think it's a great suggestion.
I think we agreed on the locations. It's just, let's see.
We didn't agree on location.
Well, I thought we mutually had an understanding, but Colliers will be looking at those areas. Sorry.
And also earlier it was mentioned about during the planning board meetings and how people, and there was a comment about not being listened to. This goes back to the bar development, and the town missed a great opportunity there. Since I got flooded from them, actually they did some nice retention work on their property, but they had probably an acre site that was undeveloped by Bard, which had concrete pavement on it. And I was proposing that the Bard developer put a retention basin there, which would have been their cost.
There's some wetlands over there that they weren't allowed to touch. They actually reduced the footprint of the original
That's
plan.
not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it was a concrete pavement where they parked trucks. So it was not a wetland designation when it was before development. And I suggest that could be a tremendously good retention area, and essentially the planning board just want to poo-poo about it. So the planning board should listen to the residents in town better, because that would have been a good site for a large retention area without touching the designated wetlands.
Did you suggest it at those planning boards?
Yes.
You did.
And
I'll go back and look at the testimony. I'll go
Right.
back and look at the testimony, and we'll go back and look at what the professionals had said about
Oh,
that
it was written off
suggestion.
for any professional.
Sorry?
It was written off by the.
Well, hey, listen, I don't think they write anything off, right? I think our professionals are we have some of the best professionals in Union County, probably in the state, right? Let's go there
And
first.
I actually checked the minutes and they kind of are edited down.
Our engineers are phenomenal. Our planners are phenomenal. I will go back and look at that. I know that they had reduced their footprint of their project. They had reduced bedrooms of their project, which actually helped out which will help out the borough in terms of school-age children. And the reduction of their footprint also created more impervious coverage.
Actually, what they did between their buildings looks like an improvement.
Good to hear. I don't know about the retention basin. I'll go back and check that, and I'll come back to you. I'll get back to you on that.
I think I used the term catch basin.
Catch basin, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Bruce Cuomo, 126 Restream. Excuse my voice. Thank you, Ken, for the time and appreciate all the updates. Just to kind of build off of what Kate was saying, I just want to ask a really direct tactical question about the committee.
Put the microphone, please. Thank you.
Better? Okay. I'd like to ask a direct tactical question about the committee. Can we formalize the partnership and collaboration with a volunteer or a couple volunteers, as you've talked about volunteers of other committees? What's stopping us from having a community volunteer or two on the stormwater committee?
I don't think you should be part of the committee process that we have internally. That's more of a internal committee, but I do support the effort, as Kate said, what is its quarterly meeting, if you have a liaison or not, that we can mutually share. As we're learning here today, getting feedback from residents is vital. Whether it's one of us that meets with a handful of you folks, I think I would definitely support that. But I think coming to a professional meeting, we typically do not do that. Is that fair to say? Okay. But
that's
that's
fair.
not to say we shouldn't collaborate. I
No,
think
and
a
I think-
public-private partnership is a good thing.
Right,
Yeah,
I
I
think,
have no problem with that either. I mean, you and I could sit down and talk to a couple people. When you get too many people, you don't go anywhere.
totally agree.
you know,
I
so-
just want to say, from the very beginning, we had said that we would be holding public meetings, at least, in the new year. Right now, we're trying to get ourselves together and organized internally before we can actually ask for more input from the outside.
Okay, again, fair points. And, obviously you see a bunch of us are going to have been coming and will continue to come to these meetings because it's important for you to see our presence and know that this issue isn't going away and you're all taking it very seriously. So we appreciate that. But I do think more of a formal arrangement. And again, to your point, Alex, doesn't have to be on the actual kind of behind the scenes committee, but if there's a forum that we could take a few of us beyond just this meeting, where we really sit down and talk some of the things that we're talking through at the task force, I think that'll be beneficial for everybody.
Personal question. Do you not wear the commander's hat when they lose? Is that what? Sorry.
Yeah, good one. I appreciate it. You said good one. A lot of injuries next year.
Does it
They'll
to
be
me
back.
all the time.
They'll be back. They're not the Jets.
No, but I
Now I'm a fan.
no, but we agree, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? See, no one, I declare the public comments closed. I need a motion for items 1 through 15.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Cogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Before we adjourn, one other, I reminded, so many of our kids went through the New Providence band. So Mr. N's last practice is tomorrow, so they're trying to get as many people to come and say farewell to him.
I believe it's at 8 o'clock on the field.
They said come at 7:30.
7 p.m.
because they-
Yeah.
they bumped it up.
Oh, did they?
Oh,
That's it.
Bernadette, I'm going to have a proclamation made for him. Okay?
Nice.
Well, I've known Mike for years. I was on the board when we hired him.
That's it. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, so be it. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Gotta shred these.